And welcome back to Top Dogs. Today, we venture into the uncharted waters of our hearts and our minds. You've been with us through numerous episodes, but how well do you really know the voices speaking to you? Join us as we uncover the personal tales, dreams, fears, and hopes that rarely see the light of day. Top Dogs, episode 63, Beneath the Surface. How are you guys doing this evening?
Doing all right. Managing.
Same. I'm just managing as much as I can.
How was your time with your grandparents?
Oh, it went very well. It's good seeing them whenever I can. I enjoy seeing them. They live like an hour away, so I don't get to see them too often.
Well, that's good that you got to see them. You know, that's a very personal thing. Now, I would imagine that your grandparents have saw you ever since you were a child, of course. Now, I want to start off with you, Whiplash. So why don't we talk about maybe some of your childhood dreams? What was your biggest dream as a child, and has it changed over the years?
Absolutely. So I think mainly as a child, there was two dreams I really had. One was to be an artist, which in my school years, through my entire school years as a child, I drew so much. And I don't know what happened after I got out of school, but I just kind of like dropped everything. But my other dream was to be a race car driver, which is not going to happen because that's something you're kind of grown into, honestly. But it would have been great to do that as well. But I do have the dream of enjoying cars and working on cars and doing car things with people. So I'll still take that as my dream.
And what about you, Stream?
Well, I've always wanted to be a helicopter pilot in the Canadian military. And it didn't end up working out, and my life path has kind of changed over time for a number of reasons. One of them being, learning a bit too late that I had trouble focusing in classes. Even though I was passionate about the subject of aeronautics and stuff, I've realized that it was very difficult. But the other reason also is being a pilot in the military is very difficult. Only about 2 to 5% of people actually succeed and classify themselves to be a pilot. And if you know me, I am not a gambler. If I'm going to go into something, I want to make sure that I'm going to get. And I don't feel like fighting for what I want to do for stuff like that. I just want it, and sadly you kind of have to fight for it. So I decided to go on a different path, and I did something else instead.
Oh, you did still do it as a hobby. If anybody ever wants to see that video of him flying his little copter, I don't know what to call it.
The paramotor. You still struggle with that. It's adorable. I ended up doing it as a hobby, which is my paramotor. It's a big type of parachute. It's a paraglider with a giant fan on my back. I call it my big floating camping chair with my big butt fan. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's a very freeing feeling because you're not inside of a cockpit. You're exposed to the element. It's very compact. It doesn't cost a lot. And it's very easy to bring with you when you're going on a road trip. So it's pretty cool. I love it.
That's pretty cool. If you guys ever want to see that video of him riding his little mini copter, that's what I'm going to call it, the mini copter. There is a video of him flying over the hills in the forest on his Twitter page. So go check that out if you guys want to. Anyways,
at stream ArcaDad.
At stream ArcaDad. For me, at least, when I started growing up, there was many things that I wanted to do. That's no big secret. I have many ambitions and dreams. But I would say when I was very young, I was into sports and football and hockey, but I was mostly focused on playing hockey. And I was as I trained and progressed, I became a left winger, and I was a bruiser, which means like I'm the type of guy that would get in a fight for you if someone messed with you or bullied you. I was so good that I almost went to the WHL or the OHL to play for either the London Knights or the Spokane Chiefs. What stopped me from doing it, however, was this problem, which is called tearing your ACL, which stings like a bee, and like maybe 1,000 bees stings. That's feels like your whole leg's on fire. And those limit your chances of value if you just get injured that badly. That's the reality of sports sometimes, and I had to live with that. But because of that, I went down the road to do cybersecurity, which I am still currently doing right now. I'm still trying to get my degree, which I'm hoping to get it next semester, and I graduate with my associates. But I'm also going to be pursuing my bachelor's as well. So yeah, and also get experience in the IT field while going for my bachelor's. But you get the point on that. So we have many scars that we carry in ourselves, right? And some of them we're not very proud of, right? So let me ask you this, Whiplash, if you're comfortable with answering this question, without delivering into too much detail, can you share an experience that left a lasting mark on your soul?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like how what I talked about last week with what happened to me as a child. I kind of like left a deep scar across, to be fair, like across the mind, across my heart, across my soul. It's just a dark image and a memory that I'll never forget, no matter how much I try to bleach it out.
Is it just, okay, so I personally never have went through that, okay? Now, and I can't imagine what you are going through every day with that kind of fact that what happened to you, right? So,
yeah.
I guess my question is like, knowing what happened, how did you learn to adapt and, distract yourself to be happy?
Mainly during school, it was talking with friends. Back in the day, it was playing games with friends online. That would like change my mind, or drawing art, which is what I used to do a lot of. And now, like, it got to the point when I turned, like, I think it's year 2021, that I just kind of, like, let it sit, like, push to the back of my mind. Like, it happened. Unfortunately, can't change the past. But I'm not worried about it anymore. I know it's terrible what happened, but I'd rather just move on with the future. I have my good friends. I have you guys. I have this. I have just things I want, the people I want in my life. I don't want to worry about that, but I do want something to happen to where people that did to me are held accountable for what they do. But because there's a lot of people like that in this world, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I will say, I think one thing that does help me is on YouTube, there are some people who actually go out and catch these people, and that makes me happy to see that happen. See people who actually try doing that. It helps me get by, to say the least.
Well, you have a lot going for you right now, especially when you have a supporting cast around you and supporting friends. You definitely came a long way.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It's been a journey.
What about you, Stream? Any deep scars?
Yeah, it's something I did at the beginning of my relationship with my husband. Now, my previous relationship, I had my emotions toyed with. The guy was in relationship with me, then broke off, then came crawling back, then broke off with me again, and then came back, and then broke off with me a third time. So when I started dating my husband, I was kind of scared to fall in love too early by fear of getting hurt again. And I kind of underestimated the status of my relationship. And at that time, I was having, I had a friend with benefit that had a very manipulative nature on me. And I was very gullible and naive as a guy. And I thought it would be fine for me to do a thing one last time before I get officially into a relationship with my current husband. Now, I should have seen the signs. I mean, all the signs that we were becoming an actual couples were there. I was just blinded, and I don't know what I was thinking. But I did something that really I regret doing. Now, my husband and I, we talked about it. He understands better, and we've gone past this, and it's like 10 years behind us. It's a long time, but still, I still feel bad about all the wave of emotion I put him through. my own naivete. It's me not being aware, being too careful. So it was a weird one, but we overcome it and we came out really strong out of it. We shared a lot of things. We discussed, we talked, and I did things for him that proved to him how much I was dedicated to him. And it ended up being a good thing in the end, but still, I still feel bad about it. So yeah, we have more an impact than we do sometimes.
Well, it's definitely like a learning experience. You gotta make mistakes for you to really learn something. Sometimes that's just how it is.
I sure do.
We tend to learn the hard way about many things.
Yeah, I'm especially like that. And you know what I really don't like about myself is sometimes I will do those mistakes twice. Like, luckily I did not do that for this instance, but on lesser things I've known to do mistakes twice in a row, and I feel so dumb sometimes, and I should listen. But when you tell me that stovetop is hot, I will still touch it, but I will go like very carefully and try to see how hot it is. I'm stubborn like that sometimes.
That makes sense. Well, I'm going to be telling you guys a deep scar that I have, and it's still not a very pleasant experience to really be talking about because of how dark it is. So fair warning to anybody who is watching this right now. This is going to be really dark. Okay. So there was this girl that I knew that I went to school with in my sophomore year. And she used to live like across the street from me, and I lived on a cul-de-sac, and sometimes I would come visit her to hang out, right? And she was a very lovely girl to hang out and have as a friend, and she was probably one of the sweetest people I ever knew. One day, we were on the bus, and I noticed something about her, and me and my friend Otto noticed that in that moment that she got slapped by this one guy, and without really any context of really what happened, we don't know why he did it, but he did. And it took us a minute to realize that this girl was going through a lot of consistent bullying throughout most of our high school years, and in that moment I felt like I could have said something to her, but I didn't. So fast forward to all the consistent bullying as it continued on. I just decided one day to go to my friend Otto, who was also one of my closest friends at high school at the time. I asked him, hey, we should go see how the girl's doing, and he told me no. And I asked him, well, why not? And so he pointed across the street. There was an ambulance on our driveway. Unfortunately, this young, lovely lady full of life is no longer with us today. She passed away, but I'm not going to go into any details, and that is a scar that I had to live with because I know I could have said something, but I didn't. And it's really hard to talk about. I haven't really talked about that in years. It was a very buried, deep, dark place that I tried to bury. But something like that is not something that you can easily forget. Because it's like buried into you like deep, and you can't pull it out no matter how many times you dig for it and just throw it out.
The feeling of regret is really something hard to deal with. It's probably one of the most difficult emotion I go through sometimes. I can deal with stress and anxiety, but regret is the thing I feel so horrible when I hurt other people's feeling, or you wish you would have said something because hopefully maybe that could have saved that person. And you're like, damn, but I gotta tell you, you can't blame yourself for what happened. You didn't know this was gonna happen. And maybe you could have said something and it would not have changed anything. The thing is, we don't know that for sure. But all your intentions were good. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, yeah, I could have said something, but I didn't. And knowing how much her family suffered really took its toll on me. And I realized in that moment when that happened, hold on a second. I was against bullying for the rest of my life at that point. Words can be very cruel. I never thought somebody would go that far in my life.
Words
Sorry,
can be sharper than daggers. So it absolutely irritates me when people think they can say whatever they want on social media. It just annoys the hell out of me. Careless people. They should lose their privileges. Honestly, I think social media at this point should be a privilege. You should have like an actual permit or license to post all that garbage. Sometimes it's terrible.
Well, in this situation, it wasn't just words, and it was also physical.
Yeah. Not a whole lot we can do about that.
No, but someone could have, but no one did. But anyways, go ahead, Whiplash.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do in our lives to possibly help someone out, but we never interact on them or act on them because sometimes I feel like we're afraid to act on it, like even it's helping someone out, because you don't know how they're going to act. Maybe they're going to say that, no, everything is fine, and they were just playing, stuff like that. And then you can really, never fully get through them. It's hard sometimes what happens with some people. Some people just don't want the help. So even though you could have helped, who knows what the outcome could have been.
Sometimes we don't realize how bad it is either, because they don't open up about it.
Do not.
And most people that are going to take actions upon themselves, usually they don't leave any signs, so you can't really anticipate for it. That's what happened with my father. Nobody actually expected that to happen. Fun fact.
Well, I'm glad I got that off my chest. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably will never talk about that again, but I would say let's move on to the next question, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do that.
All right. So there's been many times where you, Whiplash, and Dream want to Jesus. Late night thoughts. Now, we've had many of those late night thoughts, right? So there's been many times where you just lay in bed and sometimes you're just like looking up in the ceiling, you're just like relaxing and just lost in your thoughts, right? So when everybody else is asleep and you're alone with your thoughts, what often occupies your mind, Whiplash?
See, I'm someone who likes to make people happy. And I don't really... And I have those thoughts in my head, like if I'm doing something wrong with someone, or if I need to fix something with someone, or I need to improve myself on something to make the other person that I'm talking with, make their friendship better. But that's just something I've always been with, even as a kid. And because I know for sure that I'm a strange person. And I don't know how strange I'm acting with the other occupant that I may be talking with. So I don't want to step over my boundaries, and in bed at night, I'll be thinking about those situations. And have you ever had those thoughts in your head? You've done something cringy when you were younger, and then some reason that thought just comes back into your mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've had those thoughts.
Yeah, they just pop into my mind at least once a day. Like a random one will just pop back into my mind.
Me, honestly, it's when I get somewhat intoxicated and I ended up having no shame at all, and I ended up doing and saying things that I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I've done this. I mean, the people are usually laughing about it and it's fine, but I'm like ashamed of myself so bad. So I try to minimize the drinking as much as possible. Well, no, that was just legit fun, and I'm gonna get you next year. Me and Whiplash, we're gonna get you when you
Absolutely.
least expect it.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard of Oz.
I'm gonna tell Kid, like, Kid, it's gonna happen now. Record this stuff. It's gonna be.
I guess to me, like, they're like, what occupies me mainly is just like those cringe thoughts. Those cringe thoughts occupy me a lot. And like, am I a good person or not? Because I want to be a good person, but.
So with the cringe decisions that you made, sometimes you wonder about the outcome it put on other people.
That, and if we're gonna go to improve from there.
Well, I guess it depends. Like, it's kind of too late at that point because that was a long time ago. So I guess my question is, why? I'm just curious. Why would you dwell on that?
It's something. Okay, so you always like. It's something that you did that was so bad in your life that it will stick with you for the rest of your life. It's not something I want to dwell on, because trust me, it's something I'd rather just disappear, get pushed to the past, and forget about it. But it's something that made you hurt yourself from thinking about it so much that it just keeps reappearing. Because it's something that's so memorable to you because how bad the memory is. And to be fair, I have a lot of those. So I'm just like a file full of cringy memories.
We all have them. What about you, Stream?
Me, it's I bring this up very often, but it's been occupying my mind a lot, and I wonder what my life is going to be like once I actually get my child, and how our lifestyle is going to be different. And like this week, I think Friday last week actually, within 30 minutes, TikTok made me cry 3 times because they showed me people that had a dog and they were presenting their newborn child and how the dog was protective and bringing toys to the children and stuff. And it made me like all emotional because I don't know if it's going to happen or not. And I want that to happen with my child. Either if we get Jock or Elizabeth someday, if it's going to be a boy or girl, I just hope that it's going to happen at some point. And I just got to trust life. I don't know what's going to happen now, but I trust life. I go with the flow, and we'll see what the future has for us. But I will hope for the best, and I stay hopeful.
I wanted to ask you, since, bringing a child is a huge responsibility and it will take a lot of your time. It also comes with a lot of changes, and I wanted to ask you, are you going to be comfortable with the fact that knowing that your daughter or your son can possibly see you stream as a different, this lifestyle that you live?
Honestly, I'm not too worried about it because, children, it's really easy to show them a bunch of stuff, and it's actually us, the adult, that tells them if something is good or bad. So children, they don't know what's good or bad. So if you're showing them stuff, they're going to be curious about it. So I'm not too worried about things like that. And maybe they're going to be really curious about it. Maybe they won't. And I don't know. I'm not too stressed out about it. I'm very hopeful, and I'm sure everything's going to be fine. My kid, I'm going to show them all the hobbies. I'm going to teach them how to weld, how to make stuff, how to sew, how to glue, how to fix, and I'm going to show them a bunch of skills. They're going to be a jack of all trade and a master of none. So if they want to do furry stuff, then good. But I'm going to provide them with the proper, the proper support to support them in what they want to do. So,
One, protect your child if he does go into furry fandom.
Oh yeah, of course.
2,
yeah,
have fun with the birds and the bees talk.
Oh yeah, I know. It's gonna be an adventure for sure. I'm very sensitive to subtle changes in my life, and this is why it kind of stresses me. It stresses me out to have a child. But having Jet already teach me what it is to have responsibility as an adult, where somebody else has priority over you. So having Jet is a good way to transition into being a parent, but it's going to be rough at first. But I got an army of people that are willing to help us out. And I have a list of babysitters. So I know that if I need a break, I just need to communicate with my husband and everything will be fine. It's our strongest asset. And like, it's the thing where they're really good at, my husband and I, is communication. So I'm not worried on that part.
At least the one thing that me and Whiplash don't have to worry about is the birds and the bees talk.
Well, here's the thing is, you want a relationship. I just want to stay single.
Single Pringle.
I'll have the birds and bees talk with my cars.
Adorable. Oh.
Now, with me, like when I'm laying in bed, I've had many thoughts where I wonder if I'm putting in enough work into what I do. Because I want to go down to be remembered for something. Like, just like any other person that has a huge ambition. Because, you know, there's been many times where I'm like, hey, I'm going to write my book and I'm going to do it and it's going to happen. But sometimes I just see myself like when I just read through a chapter and I proofread it so many times because I didn't think it was good enough. It could be, and there's going to be times where it is good. But then I'm like, this could be better. But that's just how I am, you know, busting my butt into my projects to make sure it is one of the best quality work that the person is going to get. And that's what I want to deliver to a lot of people, that they're getting their money's worth. Especially if we're going to use an example for people that are like well known, it's like the Beatles, and you know they were known for their music, right? And they were so different in that time era, right? You get the point. Elvis Presley's the same way. Michael Jackson was too. But I'm just using music artists as an example. I can think of Leonardo da Vinci, a great genius, Albert Einstein. These people are remembered for many great things, and they left an impact on the world. That's my point. That's what I kind of want to be within my own community. Not through the world, but just with this community. Another thing, yes, I hope so at least. Now, we all have our me time, right? So we all have that one place that we like to go to for personal sanctuary. So I wanted to ask you, Whiplash, where do you go physically or mentally when you need your break from the world?
Usually two things. One, mainly hanging out with friends, because usually that will take me out of any depression I may be in. Because friends are usually the best thing to go to whenever you're sad or you're in a bad spot, because they'll always make your life better. Like, they'll make you happy, they'll make you laugh, they'll make you just have a fun time, regardless of what you do. Or the other thing is just getting in my car and going on a long cruise, because then you can just ease out those thoughts as you're driving along. And that's normally what I do. But mainly the other is just hanging out with friends, because that just makes me forget. I have such a good time that it makes you forget everything.
Yeah, I know. So let me ask you this. I know you said you want to be with your friends, right? But I'm just saying, like, you personally just wanting to be alone.
Oh, well, as I said, I'll just go on the car cruise by myself. I have everything closed off. Just be with myself as I'm driving along. Process the thoughts I may have. And just think about it, come to a reasonable agreement myself, and just push on through it.
Yeah, that's what I thought you would have said at first. Like, I wasn't expecting you to say you'd rather hang out with friends. So yeah, I just found that interesting. That wasn't the first thing you would have said, because I would have thought, oh, Whiplash would be the type of dude who would drive the car and cruise through the highway or in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, the woods, the beaches, highways. I have plenty of those around me, so I could definitely do either or.
What about you, String?
Me, is I like to get my mind busy with a project. It can be either a physical thing or a digital asset, but going in my garage, tinker on stuff, working on new product for my store, working on some crazy inventions and stuff is something I really enjoy doing, and it really allows to put my mind off and just focus on something else. And my husband is very aware of that me time that I require sometimes. I do play video games once in a while, which is great, but most of the time I just end up tinkering. Though when I do play video games, I just love going on VRchat and being a himbo ArcaDad on the internet and just let my crazy out. That's always good, but the one thing that really relaxes me is engine related, just like Whiplash, and it's just going on a long flight in my area with my paramotor and soaring through the mountains and just going down hills and, you know, doing low passes above the cornfield and smelling the fresh smell of corn or wheat or oats. So that's the thing I really enjoy doing. It really relaxes me.
Okay. Now, before I can answer my question, I wanted to go over the question of the week, guys. So the question of the week is, what are some inner conflicts you face and how do you overcome it? Now, we've had many answers to this question already, and Kit was so wonderfully nice to provide. Actually, it was Rhyker. My bad, Rhyker, if you watch this. All right, so we're going to start off with Justin, the Firewolf dog. He said, I think my inner conflict is literally thinking I am not good enough and not making friends, but how do I overcome it is literally thinking of my current friends that I have, and including my fiance, and I talk to him. So it's good that you have your own inner group, Justin. That's pretty good. Keep up with those people, because those people mean a whole lot more, and keep that window very tight with those people. Okay. You got anything to say about that, Whiplash? Because I know you have that kind of relationship with an inner circle.
Yeah, absolutely keep a tight window on your friends that you have right now and your fiance, because depending on how long you've been friends, I mean, to be fair, those will be the ones that you'll be close with the longest, the ones you'll have the better conversations with, the best times with. Those are the ones to always keep. I've had my friends for almost 10 years now, and nothing is going to come between us at this point. It'd have to be like a miracle to separate us. Actually, I shouldn't say miracle. It'd have to be some kind of evil force.
Well, Ustream, you have anything to say about that?
I'm not sure quite what to answer, honestly.
Okay, that's fine. There was one from Sakura, our lovely videographer in the background, which I'm going to tell that she's gorgeous. She looks so beautiful. Look at her. She said, internal conflict for me is accepting compliments. I've been bullied most of my early life, so it has put my head into a space where it is really hard to believe that anyone truly cares about me. Even to this day, it's hard to make people out at their word and when they say nice things about me. Sakura, I will drag your booty over here and I will give you the biggest hug.
I want to say
touching
something.
Tips.
Yes.
Yes, I am touching your tip. Sakura, I keep saying this in the self-esteem episode, but take the compliment, whether you like it or not. As harsh as it can be, take the compliment. And people usually it's very easy for somebody to criticize someone. Everybody can do it, but not a lot of people will go out of their way to give somebody a compliment. Because usually giving a compliment brings you back less than complaining, because usually people complain because they want something in return. So if people are going out of their ways to give you a compliment, it's 100% meaningful, they mean it, and you should just welcome it and accept it. I know it's easier said than done, but this is the train of thought that goes behind every single of these comments towards you.
If you don't accept that compliment, me and Stream are going to touch tips.
Okay, stop.
Touch tips. Can you reach?
Well, I want to say something. I'll just do this there. Well, here's the thing is, I think in the furry fandom, it's hard for a lot of people to accept compliments because the way they've probably grown up. They probably don't feel themselves, that they're valuable enough to accept compliments, because I felt that way growing up. I thought I was an ugly, fat barrel of a person. And then, I've made myself better, I still can't accept compliments. But I feel like accepting compliments is a good thing. But some people probably don't want to accept them because maybe they don't want to feel like they're narcissistical about it. Because narcissistical people will just be like, I know I'm cute.
Yeah.
But a lot of people in the fandom I've seen just don't really take the compliments because I guess they don't want to feel like they're better than someone else, possibly.
The best thing you can do is just say thank you. Thank you, I appreciate. You know, you don't even have to return the compliment or do what he said, like, oh yeah, I know. It's so fancy. No, just say thank you, and it's fine. And you know, it'll make people smile. So even if you don't believe it, eventually you will. Fake it till you make it.
Make it till you make it. That could take into a different kind of context too, but you know, but never mind.
Man, we've been so
anyways.
Now.
Yeah, I know. So this one is from Shameless Man 89, where he said, knowing the value of when to keep my mouth shut. That's been times where I ran my mouth and mentioned something that I thought was innocent, was something wanted kept private. Now, again, I think that's I'm going to say, in Shameless's thing, it comes down to communication, and it's really up to the person whether or not they want to keep that information private. If they didn't tell you straight up to, you know, don't mention that to anybody or and don't speak of it, then that's on you. Like if you mention it even though they told you not to mention it. Now since I didn't mention that, that's kind of on them. That's my personal belief on that. You got anything to say about that, Whiplash?
No, not really actually.
Okay.
How about you, Stream?
Yeah, I think if people are going to give you information, I think if you're not sure, you better ask them if it's meant to be private. If you know that you tend to talk a lot, which is a problem I legit have, but usually I end up talking too much details about my personal life, but I'm a very good confident when people come up to me and tell me stuff. I'm really good for keeping secrets. But yeah, the issue of running my mouth too much, I've done it a few times and it put myself in trouble. But it was never people's personal secret.
Still do. He's licking my tip.
Yeah, I tell them I'm too transparent in real life. I can't lie. When you lie, people always end up figuring it out. So just be honest, even though it's going to hurt a bit more. At least they don't figure it out, which always ends up being worse than if you would have been honest at the beginning.
Okay, so now subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. When you hit that notification bell, it will notify you with our latest videos and our latest shorts. Follow us on our audio platforms, and leave us a rating, as this will help us out a lot. Join our Discord and our Telegram chats. Links for all these are in the description below.
Calling all Top Dogs fan, you want some cool stuff? You can by subscribing to our service subscription on Discord or Patreon. Become a podcast supporter today. Get exclusive, raw, and uncut footage with your favorite podcast episodes. Join supporter meetups and talk with the other podcast supporters on the team. Plus, get a custom-made paw emoji and other goodies that come with our $2.99 a month subscription. But wait, there's more. Upgrade to the Podcast Supporter Plus and get episode voting, sneak peek, supporter feedback, episode voting, and live audience for only $5.99 a month. Plus, get upcoming ideas of merchandising and more. You don't have to join those subscriptions, but it does help us out a lot. And for everybody that does have supported us and subscribed to us, thank you so much. We're really grateful. And yeah, if you don't share, and comment our videos, Whiplash is probably going to threat you with some kind of thing, or I'm not sure.
Maybe he's going to touch you.
Oh,
see, if you don't go follow us, go to our Discord, become a or come to our Telegram and chat with us in either Discord or Telegram. I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna shave your hair off and be bald just like me.
What?
I did not expect that. His hair just disappeared on top of his head. I totally didn't expect that. That was good.
Okay.
You're welcome.
You thought about that one, didn't you?
I'm gonna start snorting. Oh,
snorting,
boy.
yes.
Oh, I do that when I laugh too hard. Yeah, I do that. So I tried to not go too far.
So, back to what the late night thoughts. For me to answer that question, I would say for me is that not late night thoughts. Personal sanctuary. My bad. So what I like to do is lay on the bed. That's it. I just like to lay on that bed because that is my comfort zone. It's not a room, but I like laying in a dark room with a bed, and I am happy and I'm content. That is my safe space. Some people don't understand why I do that, though. That's kind of the weird part. I love the darkness. Makes me sound bad when I say that, but I like being in the dark and laying on the bed and just worrying about nothing.
And have your obnoxiously loud white noise playing at the same time, right?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes, I love that noise. By the way, I'll give you a compliment. When we went to FWA, when you played that one white noise for the thundering lightning, I was knocked out. I drooled on my pillow.
Oh, really? You liked it? Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah, that's just a little side note that I want to mention. It was great. I highly recommend that one. But anyways, now there has been a lot of things that we probably wanted to tell people in our lives about something amazing or something that was bothering us, but sometimes we're not able to reach those people because of unfortunate things that happen in life. Now, Whiplash, I wanted to ask you, is there something you've always wanted to tell someone but never had the courage or the right moment to?
Plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
Very plenty of times.
Is there the one that come up to mind?
There's a lot of them from this game, honestly. I wish I can go back and just go back into a time machine and just redo everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say what it is.
Okay, that's
it's
fine.
just like it's too personal to me. I just wish I could just redo everything.
You don't need to explain. That's okay. Okay.
Me personally, I thought about this question for a little while, and I couldn't figure an answer, like a solid example of what I wanted to do. I mean, I've had a bunch of tiny little moments what I could have said, but there was nothing like significant enough for me to actually remember. So sadly, I think we never tell enough people how much we care about them. We never tell them how much we love them until sometimes it is too late. I got somewhat close to a situation like this, but I've always been very expressive, and like I mentioned earlier, giving people compliments. I've always been very expressive, so luckily I avoided a lot of situation where it could have ended badly, and sadly, it didn't, because I've always been been expressive. I've been expressing myself about how much I care about these people. So I'm lucky on that.
Mm-hmm. All right. For me, at least, my regretful moments is that, again, I still think about that one girl would definitely be one of the things I've read in my life. There's gonna be, I think, another thing that I probably would regret. As you know, there's been many opportunities that I could have taken something, and that reality kind of sets in where you're too scared to really take that jump or that leap over the mountain, and because you don't know the outcome of what could happen, because you think it's always going to be no, or it's not going to happen. But you'd be surprised how many times something could happen if you just take that leap and take that chance. And I wish I would have done that and not made that regret. Not being afraid to take that leap. Because, if you want to be successful in life, you're going to have to take some risks.
Very true.
Very true.
Mm-hmm. Is there... Oh, you know what, Whiplash? I really wanted to ask you this because I really wanted to know. So everybody has a hidden joy, right? Like some things that we just can't explain, right? That we just enjoy it. So share like a small or perhaps insignificant thing that brings you immense joy.
So, have you ever watched those videos on YouTube where it's it's like people who are enlisted in the military who are overseas, they come back and like their
Aw.
children and family there to meet them. It's something
Aw.
that just makes me happy to watch it. Like makes me tear up actually watching it. It's just something about
Makes
it.
me
It's
tear-
like so joyful to like watch it happen.
If I want to add to it, it makes me tear up as well. I love watching like the dog videos though, when the dogs
Oh,
or
yeah,
the owners
I was gonna
of
bring it up.
the pets get to see their masters return from home, and they make the most yelping noises, and they try to pounce them and shit like that, and it always makes me happy. I remember one time, and this wasn't like a military video, but I remember I saw this video to add on to it. This girl was very close with this donkey, and this donkey literally made this obnoxious noise because she saw her, and it's been years. And he would not stop making that noise that donkeys make when he went to hug her. It was so cute.
Mhm.
So, what about you, Stream?
Me is I like to challenge myself quite a bit. I like puzzles. I like to tinker and stuff. And one thing is that brings me a lot of joy is when I challenge myself to a project or a problem I need to solve, finding a solution and having to enjoy the results and success from that project or problem. It's absolutely such a fulfilling feeling that I really love. Like I mentioned before, fixing my car's AC system. I had no idea how to do it. I looked it up online. I did research. I went through the steps. I replaced it, and when I actually tested everything and it was working, I was just so happy. I was so fulfilled, and I got to enjoy having a very comfortable ride. 20 hours from Quebec all the way to Georgia, and then that other 20 hours back. So that's one thing I really enjoy is those challenges, and you succeed and you overcome them. It's great. I feel proud of myself.
You know what? I have a challenge. When are you going to build that nuclear
Anything.
reactor?
No, I'm
Oh
not
my
going to
God.
do that. I don't want to get the government on my back.
You could
It's
be like the-
don't give me ideas. I don't want to pay for electricity anymore. At least electricity in Quebec is not expensive to you guys in the States, but still, I mean, being off grid would be kind of cool.
You know what? You could also make your own solar panels. Roof.
Yeah, I could probably do that. That's something I'm going to think in the future. But I literally just got my shingle replaced on my roof of my house, so I'm going to wait a few years. Financially,
Fair
I'll
enough.
wait too.
My hidden joy that I still love today, and I wish I could still do it again, is when I was a little child and I had like 6 dogs, and I was living in the countryside at one point in Tennessee. It was Cedar Hill, Tennessee, and in Cedar Hill there was like no civilization. It was just all mostly farm and southern people, and tobacco spitting boys. And
That's sorry.
no, you're fine. And so at night, this is what I love to do, because I like to sneak out of my room at night, and I would crawl throughout the window that was literally right next to the porch where my dogs were sleeping, the front porch that was connected to my mom's and my dad's master bedroom. But I would be on the porch with the dogs, and I would be like, hey, let's go. We're going to go on this path that led to the woods, and it was always dark. I loved it. I felt like what I loved about it was like being the pack leader of those dogs, and they follow me, and we would go on an adventure in the woods. Yeah, and then have those honeysuckles. You know what those honeysuckles are, Whiplash?
Oh yes, God, honeysuckles are so good.
Yeah, I used to just pick at them and just, take a little dab of the liquid onto my tongue. It was very sweet and very delicious as well. And then after all that, then we would come home from the woods. Then I would just stargaze with my dogs by laying with them, and they cuddled up with me and on the porch, and I just watched stars go by.
Oh,
I miss
I
those.
love doing that.
Yeah, that was my thing. Moving on though, can you tell me, because we all have a bucket list, right? And there's probably some things that we have accomplished in our bucket list. Now, what is one thing on your bucket list that might surprise people? Want to go
I
Ferrari?
want to go skydiving. Nah, I don't want a Ferrari. I don't want. Here's the thing: is the one thing people get with exotic cars is like, sure, exotic cars are flashy and everything, but 3 things: 1, they're expensive to own. 2, if you get into an accident, even if it's not your fault, it's expensive as shit, and insurance is hell to fight with. 3, it's just people will think you're an asshole wherever you go to because it's an exotic car. But I want to get my I wanted to actually, if I didn't have my job I had now, I wanted to actually go into like commercial flying. I want to become a pilot, like commercial pilot.
Ooh. Well, you got this boy right here that could probably teach you a thing or two.
Oh, I'm sure
Sure
you can.
Why flying though? You also mentioned
I enjoy
skydiving.
flying. Well, I enjoy flying just regardless. Like, it's just fun. Like, it's just how we've created technology that can put us up in the sky and not have to worry about dying. Well, on a very, very large scale. There's what, 0.2%, like 0.0002%.
You don't need to explain.
that.
I think
but
we get it.
That and skydiving. Skydiving just seems like so much fun. Like, you're just diving through the air at like 150 miles an hour, just going towards the earth and then just pulling that cord and just floating to the earth and just seeing it for all the beauty that the earth is.
So let me ask you this. Go ahead.
I was going to compliment. For having skydive in my life, it is an absolute amazing feeling, and I think everybody should try it at least once in their lives. It's that sensation of jumping off is very it's very scary, and you get that massive rush of adrenaline, but once you reach terminal velocity, it's just relaxing and it's great. And then when the chutes open, you kind of just glide down and you get to admire a beautiful view. Usually they do it in like close to where there's fields and stuff, so it's a beautiful experience, and I highly recommend you give it a try at some point in your life.
Yes.
You guys have some balls. I can't even do that. I can fly in the airplane, but I can't skydive. I can't explain that one. That was a little weird. But I would like to see one thing though. This is maybe it's just an temptation. Maybe it give you a content idea. Why don't you wear your first suit? Okay, get one of them slingshots.
So one thing before we just, it's not a bad idea, right? It's not a bad idea, but I would have to strap down everything that is attached to me to make sure that I don't lose a single part of that fursuit. I'm gonna have to figure out some way to attach those feet paws to me, like glue them to my feet, same hand paws. I don't want to lose anything. But another thing too, what if I can't reach the string with my hand paws? What do I do then? Just fall straight to the earth?
No, so you're going to be doing a tandem jump. You're not going to jump alone for your first time. That's one thing for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. But I don't feel like the instructor would be like, so, why are you in a fursuit for? Why are you in a mascot suit? Can't really explain that to them on the first time.
Just I say, it's for content creation.
Content.
Definitely. What about you, Stream? I know you have a bucket list.
I sure do. One thing I've been thinking about for a long time is I would like to build the equivalent of a flying motorcycle. Which
is strange to me.
The thing is that, it's basically, it's like a motorcycle, but it has wings and it has motors where you can take off vertically like a drone, but then those motors can kind of tilt forward so that you can actually fly instead of using, propellers to keep you up in the air. And it's meant to be ridden like a motorcycle, so it would be like as if you're flying on top of a bird or an eagle, but a giant bird, and you're just kind of riding it. a bit like horseback riding, but in the skies. And I think that would be like the most amazing thing ever. It's something that I would like to build sometime in my life. It's probably going to be my retirement project because it might end up being very expensive, but I do believe I have the required skills to be able to make it work. Now, some people kind of beat me with those drones that can actually carry humans. That's not what I want to do. Drones, the only fly for 25 minutes. I want to do distance, so I'm going to have legitimate wings to keep me in the air.
Make sure it's a dirt bike so you have enough altitude.
Yeah.
Now, I have many things on my bucket list, but I didn't mention this to anybody, so I'm going to mention one that I have not talked about. So besides like anything else, I've always wanted to give a whale shark a hug.
Oh, a whale shark?
Yes, a whale shark.
Oh.
Yeah, a whale shark. They don't hurt humans.
Okay.
They're not. They don't eat people. They eat plankton, and that's about it.
And shrimp.
They're still
Yeah,
whales.
they're very passive animals. They're very calm. They're not aggressive. They're not dangerous.
Here's a bad thing. So I don't recommend doing this though, because these guys know better, but they still did it anyway. So you guys know the Jackass crew. So you know where I'm going with this. I'm bringing up Steve-O.
Yeah.
My God.
He and Chris and Steve-O and his buddy Chris, they did things with the whale. They actually they gave it a big hug. But they did something else.
They did other things too, which I don't think is really relevant. I think it's completely
but I was like, here's the point. I know that's not relevant. That's not a relevant detail, but I was like, yo, if they can go up to a whale shark and give it a hug, because that's what I want to do. I want to do it too. So I need to get that video. Make sure you get a camera to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then, now Whiplash, would you actually join with me about hugging a whale shark?
I'm sure it'd be fun. I
hope
don't
you
know how to
mind
go
scuba
about that
diving.
though. I'm not afraid of water.
I got
We're
my scuba
surrounded by
diving
it.
license.
As long as we don't join the ocean gate.
Now, I would say, I don't know if we have time for another question, so you guys have anything else to say before? Or...
I don't know. No, I think I'm good, honestly. But
Okay.
maybe I could say something. Never stop chasing your dreams. And I hope you managed to accomplish your bucket list, and same for you, Whiplash. And if push comes to shove and we hang out and there's a place that do skydiving, we'll go skydive together and we'll try to drag Fiction along.
Don't drag me into that. You want to go hug a whale shark with me?
Will.
Oh my God. I don't mind doing it. I'll do it.
Okay, let's do it.
You got my back.
All right.
I got your back. I mean, sorry. Flipped it around.
I got your. I'm the back scratcher.
No. Okay, I thought you were going to yeet me. I was like, no.
No. Well, anyways, guys, thank you for this joining us on this episode. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, have a great evening and a good. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night.
I said good night and good evening at the same time.
That's the same thing. It's okay. We still love you.
Just do good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Potter.
Potter.
What established gentleman right here?
Oh, man. If we would have reached that next question, I would have gone in a very deep place. So I think it's better we ended up on a positive note. What the? Jesus!
Positivity.
Scare the crap out of me. How dare you? Oh, my tail is fluffy. Whew, hello.
We don't need to take any pictures today. We already have one.